What it do? Dream Team. It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with Michael Jordan, ESPN basketball documentary part 2. Before we dive in, y'all know I need y'all to smash that subscribe button, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. MJ, what we working with?
Jordan, I went back to my hotel room and I threw up.
But Dokic's defense helped hold Jordan to only 13 points as Indiana upset North Carolina. Jordan never played another minute for the Tar Heels. Before winning a gold medal that summer at the 1984 Olympics, he entered the NBA draft.
I told a very good friend of mine who had a draft pick that year that was pretty high in the NBA, and I said, you got to take Jordan. Well, we need a center. I said, play Jordan at center.
After two centers were selected, Hakeem Olajuwon by Houston and Sam Bowie by Portland, it was Chicago's pick.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan of the University of North Carolina.
Rod Thorne, who drafted Michael, said at the time that he's going to be a fine offensive player, but not the kind that you could build an entire franchise around. Nobody really knew how good Michael was going to be.
What were the Chicago Bulls before him? Cows.
Chicago nights are cold, and they can be full of despair, and they can be brutal. And all of a sudden, there was something glorious right in the middle of the night.
Here's a kaboom!
I'm like, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a hell of a ride. You just knew it from day one.
Earning Rookie of the Year honors, Jordan led the Bulls to the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. Then, with veterans Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, he lifted the NBA and the game itself to unprecedented heights. In his career with the Bulls, he won 10 scoring titles, including 7 straight, and had the highest career average in league history, 32 points.
He got 69 points in a game against Cleveland. He also had 18 rebounds. I said to my partner, do you realize we're watching a legend? This is like watching Babe Ruth.
In '92, Portland had its great season, and they were going into the finals against the Bulls, and Clyde Drexler had a great season. And there was a lot of talk that Clyde would be the MVP. Before the game, Michael says, we'll show who's the best player in the league. And he gets 35 points in the first half of Game 1.
God dang!
Hitting 6 3-pointers with his famous sort of shrug.
There's Jordan for 3! Yes!
If he wanted to do something in the game, there was no stopping what he could do.
Say, y'all think Clyde on my level? I took that personal. About to show y'all who the best player in the NBA is.
Jordan demonstrated the depth of his lust for winning when he led the Bulls against the Cavaliers in the first round of the 1989 playoffs.
There was 3 writers then traveling with the Chicago newspapers with the teams. And each of us picked the Cavaliers to win the series before Game 5 in Cleveland. He points to the one guy who picked him in 3, and he says, we took care of you. And then the other guy picked him in 4. He says, we took care of you. And he looks at me and he points me in the eye and he says, and today we take care of you.
Pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win!
People have no idea how obsessed Michael Jordan is with winning at something. Not just beating you when he was in his prime, but humiliating you, with putting you away, with putting you down, so that you were no longer a threat to compete with him again.
Oh, and Reggie Miller came over and smacked Michael. And MJ is upset about it, and I can't blame him.
Yes, sir, he ran right into him, and we got a brouhaha here.
It was my mother and Michael and myself playing just a simple game of Go Fish or something, and I caught him cheating my mother. And I said, are you that competitive? Were you going to cheat my own mother in cards? I said, you got to be kidding me.
He said, we playing goldfish and I caught him cheating my mother. That's when you know his competitiveness knows no bounds, bro. He cheating moms out here.
That competitive, were you going to cheat my own mother in cards? I said, you got to be kidding me.
One day they fly into Portland, and the trainer notices that Michael is giving one of the baggage handlers a $50 bill. Michael says, watch this. So they get down to the baggage area, and the bet is whose baggage is going to come out first. And guess whose luggage comes out first? Number 23. He scoops up about $1,000, puts it in his pocket, looks at the trainer, winks, and says, "Pretty good return on a $50 bet."
This is the winner. I'm gonna get rich.
We just lost the Boston Celtics, but guess what? I'm winning!
He's so competitive. I can remember beating him in a game of pool 3 games in a row, and he didn't speak to me for 24 hours.
Michael Jordan was on a bus, and players were sort of comparing how famous they were. Michael Jordan kind of sat there. Finally, somebody said something like, "I bet even Michael can't get a hold of Janet Jackson." He took out a cell phone, dialed up, said, "Is Janet there? Just tell her it's MJ." You know, 2 seconds later, Janet Jackson was on the phone.
That came from doubters early on in my life and my determination to prove them wrong. Starting from a high school coach that cut me to my principal who said that I should go to an Air Force Academy to guarantee myself a job after I finished college.
Wow.
If Jordan's rage to prove himself inspired his teammates, it could also burn them.
I've seen Michael come in a lot of times and, knock over all the Gatorade cups and go off and say, "If y'all ain't gonna play, stay in the locker room."
Phil Jackson was never the coach of that team. Michael Jordan was the coach. Jordan was the one who yelled at them. Jordan was the one they feared. Jordan was the standard they had to live up to.
Michael is he's killing Bill Cartwright all the time. In the locker room, in front of everybody. Cartwright gets Michael aside. And he says, "Look, if you ever do anything like that again, you will never play basketball because I'm going to break both your legs."
He said some things to me that I really didn't like.
Cartwright sounded like he was with it. Know what I'm saying? Cartwright, you can critique me, but don't you embarrass me in front of the team like that. Don't you come at me like that. Know what I'm saying? He said, "Dang." He said, "You ain't never going to play again because I'm going to break both of your legs." I bet he left Bill alone after that. But Mike it wasn't coming from a place of, I guess, hatred. It sounds like it was coming from a place of frustration because he just couldn't take losing. Like, he just couldn't take it. He absolutely hated it with every being in his body. So it's like, when you're doing everything that you possibly can, humanly possibly can to win, and you're still not succeeding, and you see like everybody else is not doing everything that they possibly can to win, it just comes from a place of frustration.
Play basketball because I'm going to break both your legs.
He said some things to me that I really didn't like, and I couldn't take it. If you let him ride you, he would ride you to the moon. He would ride you right out of the NBA and out of your mind.
Phil put Steve Kerr opposite of me, but he was giving Steve all the calls. And I'm getting like really ticked off. So I started to play very, very physical. Well, Steve started giving me hard fouls. Next thing you know, I hauled off and just whacked him right in the eye. And then Phil threw me out of practice, and I get home and I'm just like really hurt. And they gave me Steve's phone number, and I got his answer machine. And I said, "Steve, I am so sorry. My anger got the best of me."
After every fight I've ever seen him in, he's always apologized. He never wanted to hurt you. He had to do whatever he had to do to make you raise your stakes that much higher.
I feel that.
My mother had passed away. My first time back at work, I see this big crowd of people. Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson are surrounded by this pack of media. They're going one way in the tunnel. I'm dashing the other way, all alone. All of a sudden, I hear somebody call my name. I turn around. There's Jordan. He said, "Andrea, I just wanted you to know how sorry I am about your mother." I was shocked.
Oh, wow.
That told me more about Michael Jordan as a person than any other dealing I'd had with him in the 7 years that I covered him in Chicago.
That's crazy.
What was your call on that last play?
That was get the ball, Michael. Everybody get the out of the way.
With a weak supporting cast, the Bulls won just 3 playoff series in Jordan's first 5 seasons. Twice they were eliminated by Detroit, known as the Bad Boys for their rough playground tactics.
We knew how dangerous he was, and we knew going into the playoffs that we had to do something special. And so we very definitely devised what we called the Jordan rules.
Every time he came to the basket, as opposed to giving up layups and dunks because that would energize their team and give them momentum, we would rather send them to the foul line.
It was important that we mentally intimidated him, whether he had to knock him down or send 3 guys at him or just look mean, nasty, ugly in his face.
In July of 1989, Doug Collins was replaced by assistant coach Phil Jackson, who had an idea how the Bulls might win.
I called Michael in and told him basically.
Is that when he came up with the triangle? The triangle offense? Is that what the idea was? I'm intrigued. But definitely want to give a shout out to MJ as a person, right? For that dealing with the, I believe, media reporter Andrea, right? For him to go out of his way to, know what I'm saying? Just give his condolences to her, even know that her mother had passed, with like all the things that goes on in his life, and know what I'm saying? That does show more as a person who you are, and I love that.
Who had an idea how the Bulls might win.
I called Michael in and told him basically what I saw as a problem with the team is that, everything's centered around him. I said, the team had to share the basketball. And he said to me, you're not going to run that equal opportunity offense, are you? And I said, yeah, I am.
Phil Jackson's trying to convince.
Simple and plain. Mike, you use your teammates, you'll get easier looks. And we're going to win games because when a team's able to just focus in on you, you're never going to beat them. If they're a better team, you'll never beat them.
Jordan, that the triangle offense is going to work. During the game, Jordan comes over to me at press row and he goes, can you believe this freaking offense? This is ridiculous.
He got double or triple teamed in a game in Milwaukee, and Bill Cartwright is screaming for him to throw him the ball. And he says, I'm all by myself. You're double teamed. Michael felt the team had a better chance of winning if he was shooting off double teams versus Bill Cartwright or Horace Grant shooting by themselves.
There was a lot of feeling that Michael Jordan didn't make his teammates better, that he wanted to score all the time, and that he wouldn't pass the ball to certain people, and there was a feeling that he was not quite good enough to win a championship.
Everyone's saying that a scoring leader can't be an NBA champion. I never believed that.
He came a point in his life, in his career, like, man, if I don't trust these guys, I don't think I'm going to win a championship. And once he decided to do that, the sky was the limit for our ball club.
The Chicago Bulls advance to the NBA championship round.
After defeating their nemesis, the Pistons, for the Eastern Conference title in 1991, the Bulls charged to a 3-1 lead over the Lakers in the finals. In Game 5, Jordan was faced with the ultimate sacrifice.
Phil Jackson will tell you that during the huddle of the final game against the Lakers, he finally had to get in Michael's face.
I mentioned to him that John Paxson was open. Michael made a point of finding John Paxson in that fourth quarter for 4 jump shots in a row. And that really kind of sealed the factor that he was a guy who was willing to give the ball up at a time when he knew that he had to do whatever it took to help his team win.
The Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship.
After Michael won the first title, he seemed to say, okay, I'm just going to kick everybody's ass. There's no one out here who can stop me. There's no one here who can stop my team if I am the team player that I should be.
A penultimate kind of moment for him as a leader. As the last of the first three-peat championships against Phoenix, we'd won 2 games out in Phoenix. We couldn't finish them off in Chicago. We had to go back to Phoenix.
We were straggling out to the plane. On the plane strides Michael Jordan. Can of beer in his hand, big cigar. And he stopped and he looked around and he said, anyone that doesn't think we're gonna win the championship, get off the damn plane.
And he said, let's go, boys. I didn't even pack for 2 games. Let's go out there and win this game and fly back tomorrow night.
Pippen runs down the lane, dumps it out the horse, Paxson for 3. Yeah! Yeah! Hits the 3!
Because Jordan had so passionately embraced the team concept, the
that.
Bulls won 3 straight championships. But soon
as he utilized his teammates, man, the sky was the limit. He was absolutely unstoppable. Dang, bro, this is so dope. Mike's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. You can't say a bad thing about him.
Very soon, the team would have to adjust to life without him.
If you're in a room with Jordan, he's going to get up, he's going to pace, he's going to go look out the window. This is a guy who can't sit still.
We're hanging together at the Olympics. We're playing cards every night. So it's 6 o'clock, the light is coming up. He goes and gets an hour's sleep, gets up, makes the 8 o'clock tea time. 18 holes of golf. Come back, scores 20 points in the first half. We go back to the hotel. Guess what we do? Play cards all night again. The third night comes around, and I'm sleepwalking now, because I got to get some rest. MJ, you going to stay up all night with me. I said, Michael, I can't do what you do.
Oh, dude.
To me, it wasn't a surprise that he got in trouble gambling because he goes all out. He's the ultimate chase better. Lose, double up. Lose, double up.
The team won the first championship. He got invited to the White House, and Michael says he's not going. And the team's in a turmoil. On the day his team was going to the White House, Michael Jordan was, in this game, gambling with one guy who was a convicted drug dealer, another guy, a bail bondsman who was funding the game, who originally got murdered by his associates. And then it turns out that, he wrote a check for his gambling losses, which is, was a paper trail he, was naive about.
A crack had formed in Jordan's carefully constructed facade.
Mike said, forget the president, I got some money to make.
6 months after the Bulls' first championship, a book detailing Jordan's rough treatment of teammates and the special treatment the club accorded him hit the New York Times bestseller list. Its title, The Jordan Rules.
Paxson has the flu, and it's about 103-degree fever, and he comes in, gets his medication, goes home. Now Jordan gets it a couple of days later, calls in, they send the trainer out to his house.
In 1993, Jordan lost $1 million on the golf course. Meanwhile, the media, once Jordan's vigilant protector, feasted on a report that he gambled the night before a playoff game in New York.
All he wanted was just some respect about the issue. Hey, I went down to Atlantic City. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't miss practice.
Yeah.
What are you getting on me for?
As soon as he went to the golf course and started losing too much money to please us, he was pilloried for, is your gambling really under control there, Michael?
As the story gained extended life, Commissioner David Stern was forced to take a closer look. While Jordan simmered and the media swarmed, a former U.S. federal judge was hired to conduct a league investigation.
I don't think he regrets the gambling. I think he remains angry that the gambling is what people tried to bring him down on.
That's
he
what
felt
I'm
like
saying.
He over backwards for the media so much that it really hurt him to have anything negative come out about him.
It's like, bro, that's his personal life. It's not affecting the way he plays. So what are y'all complaining about? It's like when you're at the top, people try to do everything to bring you down. They try to do everything. Mike was at the tip top. But that's all we got for this part. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal, out.